Hello everyone, Richard Carlton here. Make sure we're unmuted. Welcome to Tuesday at 1 o'clock here, California time, 1 o'clock. I wanted to welcome everyone who is watching us on Twitch. So we're broadcasting live to Twitch. We're also broadcasting live to YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, we have engineers that are actually watching a conversation in both places. We want to make sure that we answer your questions about the FileMaker platform. So if you're stuck at home, you don't have anything to do, you want to probably think about, if your business uses a lot of FileMaker, you might want to think about the idea of working on FileMaker, getting the bugs worked out of it. If you've had things that you've kind of lived with for a while, in fact, everyone has things like that where you have a bug in it, you kind of work around it, or you need a new feature, but you kind of work around it because you're so busy. If you're stuck at home and you got a little break in the action, now might be the time to make the improvements to your custom app, make the improvements to your database so that when things get really busy again, you're in a great spot to chase that down. So my name is Richard Carlton. I'm here at FMtraining.tv. I have a team of about 30 engineers working worldwide, and we are happy to be here today to help you out and to talk about the FileMaker platform. So basically today's target project is to talk about barcodes, an introduction to barcodes and what that means. And then the idea is that if you have other questions along the way, feel free to ask those. Now, we're going to be switching the broadcast. It used to be we were doing 2 days a week, but a lot of people are at home. A lot of people are just not getting out, and it's your chance to kind of socialize a little bit with some other FileMaker people. I have other people I can bring into the conversation if we think that's important or necessary, they can help out. But if you have questions, please write them down and ask them, because that helps me make the training here as applicable to you as possible. Now, it's about a 1-hour event. It'll go a bit longer if we're having good progress. The other day we were doing that, but we are switching it to a daily event. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 hours a week, we're going to be talking about FileMaker, at least for the time being. And to keep myself going, I have my Diet Coke ready to go. This video is sponsored by Diet Coke. So, no, that would be cool, but no, we're not sponsored by anyone. So, questions. We have a number of people here on Twitch, and also if you go to YouTube, you'll see probably a lot of engagement on that end as well. Miles is there. In fact, if you want to add Miles, Charles, to the call, but mute him, tell him to be muted, right? So that way I've got other engineers on a audio stream behind me, so if they see things I need to see. Now, I am currently at our Santa Clara office. We are considered some of the activities that we're doing. We are supporting pharmaceutical companies, important things like that, as well as normal businesses. And because of the pharmaceutical support, we are considered an essential service. So RCC is essential service because the infrastructure of running the pharmaceuticals is important. So I am here at our headquarters office. A lot of the peripheral engineers are working at home. Great business about being in FileMaker. You can do the work at home. So questions, and keep in mind there's about a solid minute 30-second delay from the time that I say something or do something to the time you see it there. And so your texting your questions and conversation will be in real time, but there may be a 90-second delay until I respond to it. It's not because I'm ignoring you, it's just because there's that long of a delay. Charles, make sure you got Miles on board. If Miles sees a question he wants to cross-post it to the Twitch stream, which I have running over on this side, I can see that as well. Looks like some of the engineers are downloading QuickBooks, or they're posting videos, and so we need to stop the Dropbox. So Miles and Charles, if you could tell the video guys to quit Dropboxing at 1 o'clock going forward at any time 1 o'clock, that would be really, really, really awesome. So, questions about barcoding? Does anyone have any upfront questions about barcoding before we talk about barcoding, right? Barcoding's been around for a long time. It's really quite easy to do on the FileMaker platform. Basically, what you're going to do if you're on a lot of people who do barcoding are stuck in the warehouse doing inventory, things like that. Either they're doing inventory, really 3 things. Either you're taking delivery of products into the warehouse, or you're working on a inventory count, or you're doing a pick list, right? So pick list is a warehouse term for you have an invoice, you need to fill the invoice out, so you give a pick list, so the person in the warehouse goes and picks the items off the shelves. And so a lot of times they'll use barcodes for that. People will try to use the iPhone. So the iPhones and iPads, iOS devices, have the ability to capture barcodes with the camera. It's a little bit slow. So when you actually go to scan, you're going to scan it, and it'll be 2 or 3 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever, about that time period, because the camera has to focus in on the barcode, right? So it has the barcode here. I've chopped the barcode off a package of Clorox wipes, but this is the barcode right here. And so as the camera is trying to take that picture, it's going in and out of focus, and it makes you, when you want to zap it and you want to scan it, it's kind of slow. If you only have to barcode 3 things or 5 things or 20 things, it's fine. But if you're at a grocery store or in a warehouse and you've got item, beep, 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 and you want it going really fast, right? You hear it zapping, and I'm just going to click over here out of the way so it doesn't do anything. But if you hear the beep and then the beep, that's how fast it can go, right? If you have a laser barcode reader. So a camera is slower. A laser barcode reader is infinitely faster for volume output. So what these are, this is a basic laser barcode. You can get it wired or wireless. If you're close to a laptop, and then you could just hook it up through USB and keep the cost down. This is like a $40 or $50. This used to be $300 or $400. Now they're like $35, $40. Plugs in the USB. It simulates a keyboard. So basically the way it works is if I go into let me see if I just open a note, like a stickies here or something like that. So I open a new stickies note on the computer here, and if I just zap a barcode, all it is acting like a keyboard. And so if I zap it, so 1, 2, 3, zap, and then it goes up on the screen. So all it does is act like a really fast keyboard. So the laser sees it, and then it mimics a keyboard, and it inputs it through the USB like a keyboard. It's pretty cool, frankly. I got my button here. We have been improving our stream deck since the last time I saw you. Now I have improved automation to make the broadcast simpler and smoother. So this is for Mac or Windows, it doesn't matter. A keyboard is a keyboard. It's not operating system specific. So this mimics a keyboard. Your computer will think it has a keyboard plugged in. On the iPhones and iPads, if you want to use these devices, in a serious setting, you need to get an enclosure. I don't have any current enclosures right now. We've had enclosures, but they were older devices. But what makes your case a little bit fatter, right? And what happens is they integrate a battery in there and a barcode, so that has a built-in laser barcode in your phone, so you're zapping things at high speed. That's pretty cool technology. But the devices vary in price on a per iPhone, and once again, this is not a FileMaker thing, this is just tech in general, but an integrated iPhone case, the barcode scanner in it, you're talking hundreds of dollars real easy, and if you need 20 of them, then you need to factor that in. So there are some Chinese knockoff companies that do it. There's a company, Miles, do you remember the name of the company that does it? That does the barcode that we did. It's a US-based company, and they were kind of mad because the Chinese were copying them and causing them all sorts of problems. But Infinite Peripherals is the name of the Infinite, right, Miles?
Yeah, Infinite Peripherals.
Infinite Peripherals. And so they make devices. They're kind of pricey, but they work really good. In fact, Infinite Peripherals are the ones that pioneered and prototyped the technology with Apple at the Apple store. So if you notice that Apple doesn't really have a cash register per se, they have a bunch of employees running around with this, and it has a big case on it, and you're like, oh. So it has a swiper for a credit card and a chip. It also has a laser barcode. So if you walk up with some sort of accessory or whatever or the box of Mac or phone, they just zap the barcode. They actually zap the serial number too, and it does the invoice right here, and they say, would you like a copy of it, in your email, and it shoots you a PDF off. We can do all that in FileMaker. We can totally do it in FileMaker. In fact, we have some functional demos set up here. So once again, just the phone by itself will do it. It takes it through a picture. There's a special script step. We can cover that if anyone has interest in that. And what will end up happening is that the barcode extracts even though it takes a picture, it can save a picture of the barcode, but that's not really super useful. What it does is it takes extracts the number and it returns it as a string of text. So the phone works okay. It's just not really a high throughput. Once again, if you're doing 5 or 10 items a day or maybe 20 on the outside, the phone's fine. But beyond that, it's going to bug you. I prefer, for simplicity and simple and super reliability, just taking a a laptop, if you want a ruggedized laptop or whatever, and then hook this to it. They also make them wireless, so it's a wireless USB on the other end. So like a dongle that plugs in, like the base station. So the base station with USB plugs into the USB port, and this is running around wirelessly, which is kind of cool. I like that. Just for the simplicity, though, the more fancy bells and whistles you put on something, like wireless here and there and everywhere, there's more things to break or quit working. A cord like this will always work as long as you can plug it in. And then so it's getting power from the computer. Pretty cool. So let's show a possible or a sample integration of this. So I actually, as funny as this is, I ran into a bug in Starting Point that no one had identified previously. And I was like, wow, that stinks. So we do have a minor bug fix here, and I'll show you the bug fix. It probably doesn't matter to too many of you. So here is a copy of FM Starting Point. I'm just going to go to the home screen. So this is over here. I'm going to move this so you can still see my face a little bit. And I can go ahead and close that. That's internal system. Close. There we go. All right, so this is Starting Point. It's a fresh download. What you could do is go, what I did is I went to products first, and I set up the products I wanted to scan. Now, it comes with I think one product, but I added Lysol wipes, right? So there's a Lysol wipe right there. Extra carriage return, I get rid of that. You could put a description in here. The description is, whatever. It's going to be, kills germs. It kills, I don't know, whatever. It kills small animals. I don't know. I mean, whatever it does. I don't want to drink it, so you might want to go easy on that. So anyway, it kills germs and small animals, and you probably shouldn't use it on any sensitive parts of your body. So anyway, so we set it up in here. I put the barcode in here. So we clicked in here. I scanned it in. And so what I can do is I can go over to invoices, and I have an invoice right here. I could create a new invoice if I wanted to, so I'll just go through the process of doing that. I just say new record. I don't have a project per se, but I definitely have a contact. So let's find the contact. Here is this person here, and we want to add an item. So normally you could add a line item, and you can get a pop-up like this. It's pretty slick. We have star, mount, push, heavy, whatever that is. Sounds like amazing. And so it's $663. And then we say, well, what if you want to add things by barcode? What if you had like 12 items that you checked out and you brought them up? So you would actually click over here and add by barcode. Now, what you do is you have the USB gun, or I'm not allowed to say gun. That's politically incorrect. It's a scan device thingy with a handle and a trigger that looks like a phaser off of Star Trek. So it's a barcode phaser thing with a laser. So anyway, so you're going to come over here, you zap it. Now what happens, so you can see what happens, it's going to put it in the system, and it's going to perform a find in the products database to determine if it's in there. And if it finds it, it's going to load it into the item. Okay, so where we go, zap, and it goes in there. It brings up the picture so you can verify the thing you scanned, right, which is this box right here. It matches the picture that's on there. So pretty cool. Now, the bug we had just a little bit ago, so you folks know, is that it was the cursor would be right here, and the idea is that you could scan. Somewhere this bug got in here. I just fixed it on this version here. I can show you how to fix it real quick if you're interested. But the idea is that it needs to leave you in back here. So the cursor has to be blinking or in a field, because when you run this, it doesn't tell you what field to go to and what layout to go to. All it is the keyboard. It just starts typing. So if I want to pretend I'm a barcode and I'm going to see something, beep, right? And then I go on the keyboard and I just type, right? That's all it does. It's very simple. So if you understand that, this tech, we've been using this in FileMaker 2. All the way back to the beginning, when you could type into a field is when barcodes could work. So it's been around a long time. So we have questions. So QR codes communicate more info. Yeah. So, well, QR code is a kind of 2D barcode. Okay, so we did have a question here from Gary. And Miles, if you have questions from the YouTube side, feel free to let me know. We're going to combine this. So the one question came up. Charles, make sure he gets that question. The one question that came up is there are 2D barcodes. So the 2D barcode is, it's hard to see it, but it's a little square. See the little square thingy right there with the little checker mark on it? There it is. See that? That's a 2D barcode. That, with the lines on it, the conventional lines, is the 1D barcode, right? And then there's the 2D. The 1D barcode, literally, if you see the numbers down at the bottom there, those are the numbers that are encoded. That's all it is like a primary key. A 2D barcode stores a sentence or maybe a small paragraph. There are different types of 2D barcodes. If you want to store a certain amount of information, like a QR code, for example, a QR code is kind of a standard that people use. Code 3 of 9 or code 39, I believe that was the number, right? 39 or 38? Code 39? I think it was what? Let me just do that real quick. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to press a button. I'm going to bring up a website, but instead I'm just going to go wiki barcode 3. I think it's 3 of 9, right? 3 of 9. Is that what it is? 3 of 9. Code 39 or 3 of 9. Depends on who you ask and how it's set up. These are the different kinds of barcodes. These are 1D barcodes, one-dimensional barcodes, right? And so you can look up here and see how that looks, and you see this information really good in here. There's a couple tricks to it, but reading this is not a bad idea. It's good information. So that's code 3 of 9. It's like one of the most common barcodes there are. If you go to if you do a search like that for the QR code, it'll tell you the number of characters that you can save into it. So there are different types of 2D barcodes. Generally anymore, you could scan. If you're doing invoicing, all you need is a SKU. Okay, but if you're like trying to pass like a business card, for example, and you want all your information about your business in the business card in a QR code or in a 2D barcode, then you want to make sure that it's a standard 2D barcode. So if you go to a QR code, once again, I'm going to go to a website. I'll go to, once again, my semi-favorite website here. I'll go wiki. I'll say QR barcode. And let's just see what it says about that. So here comes the QR barcode. It's a two-dimensional barcode, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it technically has a limit or what the specifications are. So here it talks about version, formatting, alignment, timing, all these kinds of things. So the idea is that people put their credit card, all this information on this credit card down here, or whatever card this is, it's a train ticket, is contained in the little barcode down there. So that's kind of a good example. I'm going to save that one. That's a pretty slick one. I like that. So if you bring it up here real big, so that's the idea, right? So you're talking about, of course I just blocked it over with my face. So the idea is that all this information here is contained in that QR code. So it's a string of text. The scanners, when you get a scanner, you want to make sure it supports QR codes, because once again, this thing is just typing, right? Understand? It's just typing. So if it typed a little bit or it typed a paragraph, it's just typing. And when you get a laser barcode scanner, the cameras on Apple's iPhones, especially using FileMaker Go 18, FileMaker Go is a software used on the iPhone or the iPad, it has a number of additional barcodes that it supports, some important new standards that came out. So the camera will do a QR code, right? And so some people go shopping and they scan and they want to make sure they have the best deal, and they have an app that compares pricing, etc. And so that's what you see with QR codes. So anyway, so you can go QR codes either way. I don't normally see QR codes or 2D barcodes in a warehouse setting too much. At least I don't. Most time they just need the SKU or the primary key for that code. And every product in the world that's officially official has some sort of barcode on it, right? So that's that right there. And so they and there's a central registry where you can register your product, right? Like even my book that we have books in Amazon. We're working on the new FileMaker book that coming up, the new release, and it'll have its own reserved ID up on Amazon. But that's not just an Amazon ID. That's a book worldwide ID. So if my book has that unique number, it's everywhere. And so products have the same kind of concept. In fact, you'll see products like this Lysol wipes right here doesn't actually have a barcode on it because it was sold in a package. So they didn't want people to break it up. So there's not a barcode on each one. The barcode was on the outside of the plastic package. So just interesting things that go on. So really, laser barcode readers, they can read 1D or 2D barcodes, depends on what your application is. The camera will read 1D or 2D on your iPhone or iPad. You're not going to really be able to make this work very well with Android right now. You'd have to use WebDirect, and WebDirect just doesn't have the controls over the camera in a useful way to make it work with WebDirect. So WebDirect and Android and barcoding, don't even go there. Not going to work for you. FileMaker, Claris Corp, has said very loosely that, yeah, we're going to support Android. And I'm not sure when they said that if that was super well thought out. because I get the impression that if they do support Android in an official capacity, it won't be anytime soon. So anyway, but FileMaker is Claris. I keep saying Claris. They're working on a lot of new cool things, and they are keeping the barcodes up to date. So you see little incremental upgrades to the barcode capabilities on iOS. Once again, these devices here, this device actually does the decoding and just pushes it through the USB cable as a keyboard. So it's up to this device to be up to date enough. Make sense? So questions. So someone's asking about the training. This event will be recorded. Basically, what's going to probably end up happening is that we have annual video subscribers, and so if they want a discount, talk to us and get a discount for the annual training. But the annual training subscribers are going to get access to all these recordings. The recordings will live on for a period of time, but a lot of times we go through and we clean them up and cut out unnecessary conversations like this. And so what we do is we're going to make sure that the people who send us about $150, $200 a year is the entry level to get an annual subscription with all our training. We're going to make sure those people get really well taken care of because they're helping pay for that. So if you go to FMtraining.com, I'm going to go to right here. If you go to FMtraining.com, you can scroll up. This is the website here. We have the live training events over here. These are still showing Tuesday and Thursday. They're going to be every day, so you'll see additional entries in here. Some of the days will be kind of open Q&A, like you see over here on this Tuesday. It's an open Q&A. Whatever questions, fair game. In May, it's 30 years for me doing this, so most questions I've seen before. So we have FileMaker, that's the live training. We have FileMaker 18 courses here, which are great. And then if I come over here to bundle, this is the bundle. The minimum bundle you really want to get is right here. If you want a discount on this, shoot us an email to support@RC Consulting, and we will get you a discount on that. But basically, this live broadcast stuff is there's hardware in here we had to buy for this. This is basically funded by the people who purchase our training and support us like that. So by you providing training or purchasing it, then we get to reinvest and bring new training to you and new and better training. And then when things kind of get stupid like they are right now with people staying home so much, then we're going to do more live training for you to help keep you entertained, because doing this with FileMaker right now really can help a lot of businesses. So if anyone is interested in the bug fix on Starting Point that I found earlier, this is the screenshot right here, but it's script 1287. So if you have Starting Point 7.0, script 1287, you're going to add right here. This line is already in there, but the 0 is not there. You need to put a 0, take that 0 and add it right there, if that makes sense. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So it's script 1287, line 69. You need to put a script result 0 right there. Once you do this, you want to copy line 69 and glue another one right at the bottom. So line 88 was something I added, and so 69 and 88 are identical. 88 doesn't exist in the one you have. Just drop it in there, and what it does, it keeps the cursor from bouncing out of that field. It's really obnoxious. It's a minor bug, but very aggravating for people if you run into it. So cool. All righty. So questions about, I'm going to move myself back up here so you can see me. All right. Questions from the audience on barcodes or any other topics that you feel like you want to ask the question about. Oh, brand of Barcode Gun. Okay, so I did see that one here. So I use a company called Adesso, A-D-E-S-S-O, and they have a bunch of different models. This one is actually called a New Scan. It's the product line in general is called New Scan, N-U-S-C-A-N. And this happens to be a model 3200U, which is discontinued on positive. They'll have newer ones that support other barcodes and amazing things like that. But that's the idea with this. So it's Adesso is a company, A-D-E-S-S-O. Model is New Scan. It's really small font for, I can't really show it to you. But then it's a model 3200U. But what you're looking for is a barcode gun, barcode device ray phaser thingy, not a gun. And it plugs into USB. It can be wireless. I've seen some yellow ones that were wireless, that were ruggedized. Like this one's not really ruggedized. It's got a little bit of rubber on the front, but it's not really, it's like hard plastic. If you dropped it enough, you'd probably break it. It's pretty beefy, but still. So the other ones are rubberized around it. So if you're in a warehouse and someone drops it off a forklift and kicks it across the floor, it's fine. So very ruggedized cases. So there's all kinds of brands in there, but Adesso is the one I've been using. And they are a kind of a name brand per se. Other questions, Charles?
Nothing right now.
Okay, so Mallsoft put that URL in there, and there's the Adesso one right there. The scanners there. So okay, cool. All right. Questions from on the YouTube side. Is it going okay on the YouTube side, Miles?
Yeah, we're doing great over here. Got about 20 people watching.
Awesome.
Just had a couple asking about the brand, and you just touched on that.
Cool. Excellent. Well, I mean, the point is that, a lot of people are home, and now is really, I really mean this very seriously down at the bottom of my heart. If you're using FileMaker and you're at home and there's some things that maybe you couldn't do otherwise, now's a chance to really get this stuff taken care of. Take care of the bugs, get things figured out, add features if you need them. If you need a coach, call us and we'll get you a coach set up for you. Miles is a coach, Charles is a coach, the coaches are on here. So if you need them, send an email to support RC Consulting and we can set them up and have them help you out with that. So, cool. So I want to make sure that they ask questions. So so that's the scanning of the barcodes. Printing of the barcodes kind of comes really in a couple different methods. The most common method historically is people buy a barcode font that they want, and then they print that barcode font. It's kind of a hassle because you have to install the font, and wherever you go, you have to make sure that works. There's a barcode technology from Geist Interactive, and Geist Interactive, it's kind of funny, that product, I think it's still for sale. Can we verify they're still selling it there? But I know that the people at one point were wanting to get out of the barcode business. It wasn't, Geist just resells it. It's technically not his product. The owner of it, I think is Jeremy Brown. He was I don't know if it's still available there for sale, but it's integrated in Starting Point here. Miles, can you check to see if it's still there? So we go to Home, I go to Preferences, and I go to Barcode over here. And this is the product right here. I'm going to click on it, see if it brings it up, and there it is. So yeah, they're still selling it right here. So what this is it's a script that you basically install, and it's a pretty complicated script. It's not easy to write, but it's easy to glue into Starting Point because basically we built it. What we did with Starting Point is we installed the script, we made everything work, and then we just removed the part from Todd Geist, this product right here. And so if you drop it in, you connect one little line and it works. So what it does is it generates a barcode into a container field, if that makes sense. So the barcode is in a container, then you can print it out wherever you want to print it. And so you can have whatever serial number you want or whatever string you want, and this barcode software will print it. It'll create a 1D barcode, a code 3 of 9 or code 39 barcode, like on the back of a product, right? It will do the QR codes or the square 2D barcodes. It does all that. So that's one way of printing it. You don't have to install software, or you don't have to install a font on the device. Now, the cool part, as long as you can open FileMaker, there's no plugins, there's no funkiness. It's just it's a script that's in FileMaker that does this stuff. So it's pretty neat. So the idea is that when you get Starting Point, we enable barcode scanning. Scanning is basically free as long as you have the hardware. What we do is we say, hey, yeah, we've installed it, but to install it, you actually have to follow a video and just copy and paste and drop the script in. So pretty neat stuff. Their product works pretty good. I don't know if it's still $199. They might have changed the price on it. Nope. A site license is $199. You can thread it into a bunch of projects for $349, and then you can redistribute it as part of a, if you have a product that you're shrink wrapping together, whatever you're doing, you're selling a product, then they have a redistribution of $69. So it starts, it was, I guess, introduced in Barcode, also works FileMaker 12. Okay. Yeah, I don't even have a computer that'll run FileMaker 12, so I don't know. The part of the thing is that we do with FileMaker, when we're working with FileMakers, we have to make sure that we're using some of the latest versions. We always, like right now, if we're on 18, we're using, our customers and us, for the most part, are using 17 and 18. We try to keep people up to date with it because there's a lot of security fixes, things like that, performance fixes. Anyway, so, but I guess do have some products that go that far back. On this computer, well, this is the latest operating system, yeah. I mean, the rub is you put a new operating system, you don't upgrade your software, you may get to a point where certain things just don't work anymore with FileMaker. So this is still available. So you have a font, or you can install like a Geist product. The fonts are going to be $39 or $100 or something like that. But there's more overhead of installing it where it needs to go. Whereas this, you put it in the database, and whoever can open up FileMaker Pro. I guess you could run it on Go. I haven't tried to run it on Go. Miles, have you ever tried to run the barcode creator through Go? It should work. Yeah, it's just a script that should work on Go too. So anyway, yeah. So theoretically, you could create the barcode in Go, and then on some sort of thermal label printer, have this hooked up to a mobile printer somewhere, and it bzzz out, and you stick it on something. So all sorts of options for people there. Yes, that's Gary. Gary had that same thing we did too. So,
Got a kind of use case question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So someone says they have boxes that have 3 different barcodes on it, and they're asking if in FileMaker they can basically have it enter a field, scan one, and have it automatically go to a next field to scan the next one and to the third one.
Yeah, so let's just walk through this. So the answer is yes. It gets back to the bug I had earlier. I had to kind of do this. So I'm going to walk you through this. The idea, so let's just walk through this. Since your folks here are interested in barcodes, let's go ahead and do barcodes. So I'm going to go to, well, I can go to dashboard here. I was going to jump the layout, but you just go to invoices. Now I have starting point set on real basic mode without all the the master detail portals and stuff like that. I prefer to keep things basic when we're training. And so here is the idea once again. So the idea is that you could scan, and you could scan 3 scans. So Lysol, so in the case of this person, probably what's happening is that if you have a product, like this is a great example. So this is a serialized product. It actually doesn't have a barcode on it for the serial number, but it has the SKU. If you were going to say this was in a box, it would have a SKU. And if it's a commodity product, commodities like water or Diet Coke or Lysol wipes or something, they don't serialize those things. If you have an Ethernet cord, they don't put a serial number on it. But if you have specific bits of hardware, you're going to have, if it's important enough and valuable enough, the company will put a serial number on each device. That serial number will be represented in a barcode. So you could have the SKU and the serial number. So if you were going to customize starting point for like the tech business, I don't know why she has 3 barcodes, but that's another situation, which is the same as this. The idea is that you would scan one, it would identify the product, and then would say scan the serial number, which would be the second field. So what we do, and I'm going to actually do this here live. So what I'm going to do is walk us through this process. So I'm going to go ahead and delete for the moment the Lysol wipes. I'm going to delete that line. I'm going to say let's scan by barcode. So it pops this window right here. So this is the we built this and tested and used it because it made sense. And so the idea is that you're going to scan item, it's going to find the item down below, but then it's going to be back up here at the top over here. It's going to allow us to be ready to scan the next item. So I have a barcode here. And so we're going to do this once, and then I'm going to turn on the script debugger, and we're going to run through it. So it runs it. It did the find. It found the database. It displays the information here. It also adds it over here. Now, I could have said, confirm you want to do this, right? And confirm you want a quantity of 1. I mean, there's all sorts of customizations you can make, but it assumed that since we're barcode zapping it, we're not, dumb employees or stupid. It's going to assume that if we zap it, we want it on the invoice. That doesn't necessarily have to be your business case. It was just kind of the assumption that we made. And then it puts the character cursor back at the top, ready to scan the next item. So what happens is that we actually had it be a little bit smart. I'm hiding behind the window now. And it's so say that you're scanning, like this always happens at a grocery store. So you'll buy a package of lasagna or some sort of, like a Lysol wipe, right? And then you have like a bunch of bread, food, mustard, bologna, meat, salads, all sorts of healthy stuff. And then you have another can of Lysol wipe that was at the other end of the cart. Well, if you built it kind of the basic way, it would just it keeps adding line items, and you could have the same thing in there twice because you bought 2 of them. It'd be better just to have the quantity be 2. So what our code does is actually it actually scans, and before it adds it over there, it sees if it's already on the page, and if it is, it increments it by 1. So I'm going to zap it again. So here we go. I'm going to zap. You're going to watch that over here. You're going to watch that in that spot there. So I'm over here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And so it increments it. So it's smart about it. So notice the cursor's up here. The cursor can be wherever we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to layout mode real quick because it's unlocked. I'm going to click on layout. Oh, I have it in a different window. Okay, let me close that. Do I have it in another window? Oh, it's over here. I have several of them open. My bad. All right, let me get rid of this one. Because I've been playing with this, I'm making a mess out of it. Okay, yeah, go back to browse, close, there we go, close window, okay, over here. I'm going to go to layout mode over here. And what I want to do is I want to look at script triggers on this field. And so what happens, so here's a really, really, really important, there's like a couple gotchas in the world of this stuff. There's a really important gotcha. One is that the barcode scanners can be configured to do different things when they scan. They can put a character in front or a character in the back of it. And so what this thing does, and most of them do it by default, is that they scan the number, and a little keyboard, imagine like little minions in here typing. They type, and then they push the return key at the end. So as you scan, if I go into like back to stickies over here, watch what happens on my numbers over here. I'm going to create a new sticky, and I'm going to scan. Watch the cursor. So the cursor is now down below. So if I keep zapping and I zap and I zap, it's putting a carriage return at the bottom. Well, the carriage return, when we hit that carriage return, it activates the script trigger right here. So I'm going to hit cancel real quick. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to look over on the right side right here under the database tab right here. And we can say go to the next objects if it sees a return. So the idea is that if that field sees a return key. Now this is not normally the behavior. Normally when you're a standard FileMaker database, it's set up like this. That's the normal. You tab between fields. But these devices like to put a return character on there. So we turn off the tab, or you could leave the tab on if you want. We put the return on it. So then when it hits the return, FileMaker says, okay, we're out of here, we're leaving, we're going next field. But in that process, it trips a script trigger. And so if I come back over here, conditional formatting, right click, script trigger. So I'm right clicking. So once again, for those of you, mouse, right, left finger. If you don't have a multiple mouse, then you're going to use the control key to click on it. And so on object save, so it's on saving, on exiting, basically. You can do it a couple of different ways. We're using on object exit here, but it activates script 1287. So that's the whole thing. It activates a script that's going to do things. And that script can do whatever we want, including it could put us in another field, right? So say if I wanted to define a field in here, like I said, I don't even know what table this is in. Let me take a look, see what this is. I'm going to blow this up. So we are in invoices. Let's say we're going to have, let's define a database. We're going to say we're in invoice. I'm going to say G underscore serial number. So this would be like the second field the person asked about. I'm going to say create. I put G so I know it's a global. I'm going to go ahead and come over here to storage. I'm going to say global storage. If I'm going really fast, watch the training. If you need specific help, get a FileMaker coach. If you have questions, please ask the question. Yeah, the bottom question is from DCOB77. Yes, it will absolutely generate the data from your fields in FileMaker, right? That's the whole point. Most time we're taking the SKU number and we generate the barcode from the SKU number, right? We put if you look at your Diet Coke, see my Diet Coke is, the SKU for Diet Coke, a can, is 496580. That's a reserved number. So we would put that in the database, and then if we needed to print, we send that number 496580 to the Geist script. It puts that barcode in a container. Then all we have to do is put that container on a printout, and we're done. So that number is reserved. Makes sense? So I've got my serial number right here. I say OK. I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to bring it down. and I'm going to say this is going to be my G serial number, okay? Now, here's the rub with this, and I'm making it ugly, and I'm making a mess out of this. I have to go to script 1287. That's the script that is launched when you input in information here. So I go to script workspace. I can say script 1287. That's why we number everything. Hang on. Whoop, there I am. That's why we number everything. So I don't have to read this long number to you. You just know that it's script 1287. And if I click over here, I can say show me script 1287. And we come over here, and this is the script. We put some comments in here. At the end of the day, it does two things. One, it's going to first it does a loop, and it checks the items to see if your item's already in there. Like the Lysol was already in there, so it added another one. It didn't create a new entry. If it doesn't find it, then it creates a new entry in your invoice line item. So if it's running the process where it finds the item already in there, it runs this one right here. What I do is I say it exits out, and it stops the return from exiting. So this has to do with calling scripts and script parameters, but the idea is that I'm trying to keep it simple, but the idea is that the return key was hit, but it was a pre-script trigger. There are script triggers in the world that are pre and post-script triggers. Once again, if you don't know about pre and post-script triggers, we have training that's super cheap. Go buy the training. If you want a discount code, email tech support. It's easier for me to reference that training so you can watch that, because theoretically I only have 20 minutes here. I'll go as long as my voice lasts, but we have to do, so. But there's pre and post script triggers. So what it does is that the barcode it typed the number, it hit a return before it actually, so it wants to do a return, but it's going to run the script before it does the return. Does that make sense? And the return would take it to the next field. So it's told, so by hitting return, FileMaker goes, hey, you want to move to the next field? Before I do move to the next field, let me run this script. So it runs 1287 right here. And then at the end of 1287, when we're ready to exit, we say, by the way, remember that return that you were going to run? Don't do it. Don't do the return. Just stay where you were. That text result 0 right there will tell that script trigger to stop and not do whatever it was going to do. Right? Does that make sense? And so it executes a text result exit 0, tells it to stop. So now if I wanted to actually go to a different field, say I wanted to go to the serial number field, like we asked about going to the next field or the next field or next field, we simply say, hey, let's go to that field and then stop, okay? And down here I could do the same thing. I could say, let's go to the next field. And so the code is really kind of redundant. So I have to go field. This is not really needed here. I'm leaving it here if we want to undo it. It goes here, then it goes here, then it's going to stop. It's not going to execute that return key. Make sense? So I'm going to save the code. I'm going to attempt to run the code. So the idea, once again, is browse mode, close, or just close that one right there. It's still on the layout, though. Here, hang on. Let me get rid of that. It's down here at the bottom. I might get confused as to which one to stick it into. There we go. Browse mode. All right, close. All right, so here's the idea. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Lysol wipes. I'm going to say delete. I'm going to go ahead and run the add by barcode right here. So it brings up the dialog. So it's up there on the first one, and notice the interface is kind of ugly. But the idea is it's going to scan this, it's going to add it, and then it's going to be in the serial number field if we needed a serial number to go with this. So scan, and then it's blinking now in the serial number field. So if we had a serial number, we could put it in there and it would scan, but then we would have to adjust the script to what does it do after that. We haven't really done anything for that. It's just, I don't even know what it'll do. It'll probably just, so it puts it in and then it freaks out because the script doesn't know that there's a serial number. We haven't put anything in there about a serial number, but we just tell it to go. And the way you tell it to go is with the, if I go to scripts, I go down here, we tell it to go to the field and select perform, so the select perform. So that puts the cursor in there, and you go, well, that's kind of goofy. Well, the flip side of it is that you could also have someone in there who could actually read the number. How many times that happened at the store? Zap, zap, zap. Oh, it doesn't work. Zap, and everyone's staring at you in line, like zap, zap, zap. And you're like, God. And so what happens is the person goes, okay, let me type it in. So they sit there with their glasses, and they adjust their glasses, and they go on the keyboard, and they type in the product number, okay? That happens every third time I go shopping. So having a keyboard override is really handy. And so that's why we put the cursor in there so you can see it. Awesome. Questions? What will training tomorrow be about? Well, what would you like it to be about? Audit log, please. I can make a suggestion. Okay, if we're going to do that, I got to get Calvin involved with that. So we need to make sure Calvin is available tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We have a brand new audit trail. So there's a new audit trail file coming out for people who have our training, who buy the training, and a new audit trail video. So is this person one of our training people? If not, man, they ought to get a discount and get the training, and then I can give them all the new stuff. Because, I mean, we're doing a lot of free stuff here, but at some point we have to collect a little bit of money to keep the lights on, right? So Calvin has a brand new audit trail file and brand audit trail videos to kind of walk through it. And he could also get him set up to have a conversation with you folks here. Does anyone else have a suggestion? Oh my gosh. Well, then send him hey, Miles, send him a code. In fact, if you want to post the 50% off code here, you can. Okay. Find the license key for $150 and they get all the training for a whole year. Okay. All the video training for the whole year. Yes. Post that, the URL for that. Yes? I don't hear Miles. Hopefully he's there. Charles, can you make sure that happens? You guys are both muted. Well, you were muted. Okay.
We'll chase down.
Yeah, post it there. Because that way, I don't mind doing this, but I mean, I just put, $4,000 of work into that audit trail process between paying Calvin, paying the video production, all that sort of stuff. So I can't give everything away for free. I don't mind, you guys getting a super deal on it. $150 for the year is stupid cheap. So that doesn't include the FileMaker bundle software. It's just all the video training and the sample files that go with it. So anyway, so and starting a point, like this is a classic case of a CRM that's totally free, and you can have it right now. So all this stuff in here is free. You can have it and play with it and ask questions about that. So I'm not seeing YouTube. Do you have other? He has a training. Well, then there we go. We will we'll have to figure out what we want to do with audit trails. I got to get Calvin on that because I have a guy who rebuilt the sample file, and he'd be better at doing the training than I am. But yeah, we have an improved audit trail that improves performance. So if you want to track, that's a little bit more of an advanced topic. Why don't we slide that? Give me a day tomorrow. Give me a date, not tomorrow, but let's think about the day after, whatever that is. So that would be tomorrow's Wednesday. Let's say Friday on that. And if you have a subscription to our, just have a subscription. It makes it so much easier. And we can send whatever you want. We just send you. We don't have to say, hey, Okay, so questions about the demo that we have right now. What will the stream be tomorrow? Well, that's a good question. It might be an open Q&A. The problem is I have to arrange for engineers to come in. I'm booked, available every day at 1 o'clock. But maybe we have Jacob Taylor or someone come in tomorrow. It just depends on what's going on. But we have a conversation. I'm open to suggestions. I really am. So 3 p.m. Central, yeah. So, and then if you're in Europe, it's already like 10 o'clock at night, and they're all grumpy. Because they can't be, I don't know. If you're in Italy, they can't get to the pub. So I guess they have home delivery there for groceries, for alcohol. I guess that would be okay. But yeah, I don't want to get in front of a grumpy Brit who can't get his, go to the pub. So definitely ask questions on that. We have about 40, 50 people here collectively. And we're happy to answer the questions and go into details on various topics. I mean, as you all know, I've spent some time in the South. Y'all know that there's a lot of moving parts to FileMaker. It does a lot, but there's a lot of moving parts to it, and we're happy to help, right? So, okay, so I'm reading this other comment here. All right, so Miles, you saw this. It's Tar Minaz. Okay. Something I'm struggling with relating to printing barcode. I want to allow my users to create their own label design in a web tool, yet to find a good one. Allows the transactional variables to pass it, then print it, ideally design tool with API. Okay, well, so if you want a web, basically you're asking, okay, so if you want a web tool, like a web page tool, then and you want it to be like universally functional, really you're not, WebDirect won't do, I think, what you really want to do. because you want people to be able to lay out and do layout and design. And layout design is always kind of a hack in a web browser. I mean, Jacob Taylor, can you invite him in there? I mean, at the future, what we'll do is I'll invite more people in here so I could ask people that. But it gets into this idea of building a PHP. I mean, so you understand that FileMaker is a great environment to build, and it allows you to do a lot of easy things, but you have to be in the FileMaker environment to fully benefit from all the coolness. And so the FileMaker environment is FileMaker Go, iPhone and iPad, FileMaker Pro on Mac and Windows, and it's WebDirect, but it's limited on WebDirect. It cannot do everything. And so people say, I want to build this amazing website that does all this stuff, and you're exceeding what the browser can readily do without some really clever programming. I mean, for example, it's gotten to the point now where you can do like limited Photoshop kind of stuff, and like not even cut stuff out, but cropping of images, things like that, sharpening, adjusting color. You can do that. But in terms of designing, I would make a conversation, have a conversation with a more senior FileMaker engineer. I don't know if you want to email support and talk to one of my senior people about the directions you could go with building a front-end label creation process. Cool, because that's the real deep end of the pool. Everything that we're doing here today so far is very basic end user stuff. You guys can do this. Everyone here can do this, I guarantee. Yeah, okay. No, I'm thinking my designer will use a third-party label design tool and then paste data into it. Yeah, third-party design tool, and then the question is, once you paste data into it, where does FileMaker come in there? So that's once again more of a conversation, and that's why the delay here is such a hassle. I hate the delay because I know you wrote this a minute ago and you're wondering why I'm ignoring you. So I'm not. So we have questions going here on the Twitch side of things. They're interested in the design, how to design. I don't want to make the label. Don't want to make the labels for that. I want them to design their own. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but if you're trying to use a third party company design, right, app, right? Well, I don't know what that would be. You're asking about a company that has a design tool, right? So yeah, I'm not sure what. So David, is that relevant to which piece? Yeah, I know that's the rub. People say words, and it has to be more of a dynamic conversation. The YouTube video there, I'm not sure what that one's about. I can't explore it while we're live. So if one of you guys want to engage on that question, that's fine. That's why I have lots of staff that help me. So we have requests for audit trails. That's useful. We have people doing a FileMaker Go, and they push a button, submit a record, and so the one gentleman is asking the question, IMOG, I think it's IMOG. So let's say I have FileMaker Go app, I scan a field, scan the fields in the layout, then I push a button that submits the information to create a record. What is a good way to show the record, show the user the record was created, and then let the user input more data once again? Okay, well, basically, the way you're talking about it, if you're in FileMaker here, right? So if I go back over here, FileMaker Go, you're going to build a layout that looks a lot like something like this. You're going to build a layout, if you go to layout mode, you're on an iPhone or iPad, you'll build a layout that looks a lot like this. If you want to collect the data and then save it, so say the button at the bottom says save it, then all these are going to be global fields. Whenever you have a global field, not just the name G underscore, but you actually with global storage, then the data is saved only locally on that user's. It's not saved; it's on that user's computer in the RAM memory, on the chips. If the power goes off, you lose it. So they can save the data into globals. You could press a button which will then create a record, and then use a series of set fields to set it out of the global into the correct field. Set it. When it's done, then you could display a message here or whatever says saved, right? And they could then make additional edits to it. And as soon as you make edits here, you could also indicate, oh, would you like to save changes, right? That's all very doable, fairly straightforward. Once again, you have globals, fields. These are not globals here, but you would set a layout like this up with globals with a save button, right? And that's very important because what happens with iPhone, and I don't know if iMog knows about this, but if you play with iPad apps a lot, we have a couple customers that put data in, and then they'll input. They'll get down towards the bottom. They're putting stuff in, and then when they're done, they don't do anything. They just like, okay, I'm good. They finish typing. They don't. The concept of saving it or having it autosave, they just forget, and then they go off. And then they get disconnected to FileMaker and they potentially lose the information. So what we've had to train users to do is actually put a save button on the screen to force them, the idea mentally, to save the button to actually press and save it. I'll see if we can find a demo of that. That's an easy demo to come up with. But the idea is that, because what happens in FileMaker, as you're editing in FileMaker, right? So I'm here in editing and I'm editing and I'm editing. If I click out everywhere or I go to a different layout, it saves the changes in real time, okay? And so because I'm in here and I'm motoring around, I don't lose the data. But on an iPhone device, you frequently have people with really fragmented existences. They're on the phone, they're driving the car, they're texting, they're doing everything they're not supposed to do on the road, whatever. And they'll put the data in, and as soon as they're done typing in that last field, they just walk off. They're done. And so then we get this complaint from the customer, the dog ate my homework. Once again, that's when I swear I typed it in and now it's gone. Well, that's because it was never saved. It's got to be saved. So on iPad, iOS, mobile devices, sometimes it's better to put a save button on there and just force them to see that. And once you press the save button, you can change the color to be like it's okay, it's saved, like saved, right? So pretty straightforward, cool stuff. Yeah, you can do it with variables too. You do globals, but you can't really put variables in a field, right? If you want a field on screen that you can edit into, it's not going to be a variable. I mean, if you put in a global, then it's available. If you want to cross different, the only reason you would put it in a variable is because you want to jump across a file. Variables are very useful, but if you already, I mean, so yeah, so it's, in everything we do in FileMaker, there's always more than one way to do it. I try to pick the ways that are easiest to explain, to articulate, and that you're the most likely to be successful with it. It's really important. So when I say things, I'll have people on here will go, that's not the most efficient way to do it, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know it's not the most efficient way, but I'm trying to explain to people who just are brand new to FileMaker. So obviously iMog is a more established user, some sort of mid-level and maybe high-level developer, and so the things that answers that I might give him personally one-on-one, or a coach would give him one-on-one, might be different than what I do in a group environment where I know he understands it, but the brand new people are totally lost. I prefer everyone to come along. So if you write into globals, you have a script, and you do a set field. You set field from the global field to the local field. That way it only saves when you press the button. That would be the easiest way. You can get involved with variables; they solve other problems. But yeah, I don't want to have a conversation about variables right now if I don't have to. Yeah, so good. Videos tend to send the barcode to a page and then back to FileMaker web viewer. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I can check that out, David. Yeah, I'd have to look and see what that does. The rub is that you don't have precision control. I don't know if he's. There was one he says you guys need to make sure when you when you comment, you need to give me more context, right? David didn't give me any context, so I'm sitting here playing. I'm trying to okay, what does David think about it? What is he saying by this, and what does he mean, right? You guys it's out of context, so I need to definitely let me know the context of put it in the web viewer. That's fine. And Todd Geis is really good with JavaScript and web viewer. In fact, web viewers are getting more powerful in FileMaker 19, without a doubt. There's some really cool stuff coming for that. But I'm not sure what the problem solves unless you're trying to use it with Droid. But yeah, I don't know. You'd have to. Yeah, I'm assuming this was part of the Android conversation, so I don't understand the context. So questions, Miles, from the YouTube side, because we're at 1 hour. We need to call it good. And then for tomorrow, it'll be open Q&A. I will arrange for Friday to have the Audit Trail stuff going, and so hopefully you folks are engaged. You're learning something out of this. Come with your questions. Once again, I have a couple people who are really chatty and talkative over here, which is great. I need that. And I'm trying to make sure that the questions they ask, we repeat the question and we give you a great answer. If you need help, if you want some one-on-one help, you can get it for like half off by getting a FileMaker coach to help you. So normally hourly rates for developers in the world are $125 to $200 an hour, stuff like that. If you want half off of that rate with a FileMaker coach to help you with some things, email RC Consulting, email support@RC Consulting, and they can get a coach to help you with that. Some of our coaches are really busy, and then I had like 2 coaches who were busy helping Disney and helping some event planning companies, and they all decided that they're going to take a break for the next couple weeks. So I have a couple coaches who are doing nothing right now, so if you have, now's the time to get some one-on-one help. Would be really useful in that area. And then iMog started last year. Awesome. Well, I'm glad. Welcome to the world of FileMaker. You're going to find there's a lot of great people in the FileMaker community. It's a very giving FileMaker community. There's a lot of good samples out there. A lot of people give a lot of things away for free. We do that too. We also do have to charge a little bit periodically so we can afford to keep the lights on here. If you have questions or subjects or topics besides the Audit Trail, iMog wants a topic. And then we'll look at the comments and compare notes here. But we're going to be doing this every day except Saturdays and Sundays. I know the Europeans would probably love a Saturday or Sunday and then on a different schedule. But we do like them too as well. We like for them to come visit us as well. About half the FileMaker users seem like they're in the United States. About the other half are spread throughout the world. Japan has a lot of FileMaker users. Not so much. We don't interact with them too much because we're kind of an English-only operation. Although I do have a Spanish guy who really is doing a great job. So if you need help with Spanish and FileMaker, definitely send an email to support RC Consulting. His name's Alex, does a great job, and so he can help you as well. So if you need Spanish support, if you go to average FileMaker consultancies, you can't get support in different languages. I have a French guy and a Spanish guy, so that's pretty awesome on that end of things. Cool. All right, well that's it for now. Richard Carlton, sign off. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap. Stands in, throws it left for Amendola. Reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10. Rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.